Hi folks, Dr. Leitner here, and this video is a short overview of the instructions for Project 1, P1, which is your research proposal. Now, for this proposal, it helps to think what a proposal is supposed to do, and usually a proposal is something where you are proposing something that your audience needs to approve. So if you think of a business proposal written to a bank, you'll say, okay, I'm going to earn this amount of money and you're going to loan me this amount of money and then I'll pay you back in such and such terms. So a research proposal is where you're saying, I'm planning on researching this for the next whatever, 8 weeks, 16 weeks, and then your head of your department or whatever is saying, okay, that looks like a good idea, that might work. I'd like to know more about that. You can go ahead and do that. Now, for this particular proposal, I'm not actually approving it. I'm just grading what you're turning in. If you have a problem with it and you think, well, this proposal might not actually work, you need to let me know and we can rewrite it. But I don't actually have to approve this. You're writing this as if you are in that situation, writing that proposal. And this is really a planning document for you, planning your research paper and building up to that research paper. So that's the frame here, and that's the overview. So just to talk briefly about audience and purpose, you're writing to the head of research for your chosen nonprofit organization for the purpose of getting permission to proceed with the research. And that's kind of just what I went over. So there are 5 things that this proposal needs to do. And this proposal is kind of a functional document in that it has to do these 5 things. Okay. So one is identify a problem that needs attention from the nonprofit. Second is demonstrate the exigency and kairos that the problem has. So exigency is the significance, the reason that this is important to do. And the kairos is the timing, the reason that this is important to do now. So if we take the example of the farmers who need legal help, let's say you want to research the problem of we can't find the farmers who actually need to give them the legal help. Maybe that's your problem. You want to say, well, the exigency. You start looking into it, and you say, well, the exigency is the farmers don't come forward for help because they're taught to be independent and tough, and so they don't want to ask for help. So that's your exigency, and you might have kairos of something else. So maybe something just happened, and lots of farmers need legal help, or maybe something is about to happen, and farmers will need more legal help. Maybe there's more legislation coming down. So those examples are kind of general, but it shows you that, look, if you've got a problem and you've got exigency and you've got kairos, you've got a pretty serious problem that everyone is going to agree that, hey, this needs some more work. So that's why I kind of want you to find all of those things, all of those reasons that the problem is important. Number 3, you're going to describe who your audience might be, and you've identified the name of your audience, but again, you're figuring out, what are the values of this NPO, what kinds of things do they want to do, and so you're demonstrating to them that you understand the values that they stand for. Describe the stakeholders. Now, stakeholders is another term that many of you have not had to deal with, but this is a term that is in business a lot. Stakeholders are very simply anyone who is going to be affected by the change or by the problem. And so, in the case of the farmers' legal aid, I mean, indirectly, in a sense, all of us are affected by that because everyone gets their food from farmers. So, that could be a long list. But again, this is just an exercise where you're saying, I understand how people are going to be affected by this. Another example might be, let's say you're proposing a change for teachers, but the change doesn't take into account how it's going to affect students. That would be a change which I hope a supervisor would look at that and say, well, we're not going to do that. It does not take into account all the stakeholders. You're proposing a change for teachers and you're ignoring the needs of students. So that's why stakeholders are an important issue in any proposal like this. And finally, you're going to propose your methodology, your plan for how you're going to research the problem that you've got. And this is going to be a lot easier once you have the other first 4 steps. Okay, so later in this document, I've got the requirements are spelled out a little in a little more detail. I also, for each requirement, I mention the outcomes that this requirement is linked to. You don't have to know that. You're not going to be tested on that. That is strictly for me to understand and see that all the outcomes for the course are being taken care of. And you would like to know that too as a student, but my point is some students get bogged down. They're like, oh, what does this mean? Well, in a sense, you don't need to worry about what it means. It's just to say this is linked to this, and this is how it's part of the assessment of the course. So all of this under requirements are just details onto what I described. 6 and 7 here are not described up above. So 6 is your essay needs to include and meaningfully integrate at least one multimodal element. And a multimodal element is anything that's not text. So it could be a picture, it could be a link, it could be sound, it could be something else that's not text. And finally, a project should be between 750 and 1,000 words. And the last thing you'll see here is the rubric. And this is actually how I'm going to grade the assignment. So you really want to look at this carefully. This is replicated. If you click on My Grades and then scroll down to Project 1, you can click on View Rubric, and this is the same thing that's there. And this is exactly the way you're going to be graded. So you actually do want to read this very carefully and look in, okay, if I want excellent to be in defining a problem, I need to be over here in this area. Okay? Guys, you're doing great so far, and keep up the good work, and let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.